I want is to help others. That's what truly makes me happy.
Brilliance from Sadio Mané. Brilliance from Sadio Mané.
At the southern tip of Senegal, nestled among endless peanut fields and winding dusty roads, lies a small and humble village called Bambali, a place that, for many years, the world had never heard of. It was there, in 1992, that a baby boy was born into a simple, hardworking family. No one could have imagined that one day, this child from an unknown village would rise to become a global football icon. The world would come to know his name, Sadio Mané. His home was tiny, its walls built from packed mud, its roof patched with tin. There was no reliable electricity, and when the sun went down, nights were lit only by the dim, flickering glow of an oil lamp. Yet in Sadio's eyes, there was always light, the bright flame of a dream far too big for the borders of such a small and forgotten village. Every afternoon, after helping his mother tend the crops in their small field, Sadio would run barefoot to a nearby dirt pitch. There, he kicked a worn-out plastic ball, or sometimes one he made himself, crafted from bundled-up socks tied together with string, on that rough field. He would close his eyes and imagine the roar of thousands of cheering fans, though in truth, the only sounds around him were the chirping of crickets and the whisper of the warm savanna wind. His father, the respected imam of the village mosque in Bambali, often reminded his son not to forget his prayers, his discipline, and his duty to his faith and family. But deep down, his father also knew that this boy was not like the others. He saw in him a restless energy, a spark, a fire that could never be confined by the narrow limits of their little village. Then came the tragedy that changed Sadio's life forever. When he was still a young boy, his father fell gravely ill, suffering from a sickness that quickly worsened. There was no hospital in Bambali, no ambulance to call, no doctor to save him. His father passed away in his family's arms, his life slipping away before help could ever arrive. That night, Sadio cried until his eyes could shed no more tears, but in his heart, he made a silent, unbreakable vow. One day, I will build a hospital here. No father should die because he cannot get treatment. That promise, born from pain, became the cornerstone of his life, a quiet mission that guided every step of his journey ahead. But before he could ever fulfill that vow, Sadio knew he had to leave his village. He had to challenge fate, to fight for a chance at something greater than what life had given him. At just 15 years old, with no money, no proper gear, and without even telling his family, Sadio ran away to the capital city, Dakar, nearly 400 kilometers away from home. He arrived at a football trial, wearing torn sandals and old shorts, his clothes dusty from the road. Many people laughed at him, thinking he was just another dreamer. But once the ball began to roll, the laughter disappeared. He was too fast, too sharp, too gifted for anyone to ignore. His instincts and determination were impossible to miss. The coach of the Generation Foot Academy looked at him in awe and said to his assistants, "This boy will go far, farther than any of us can imagine." That moment marked the beginning of his long and incredible European journey, from a small academy in Senegal to the professional club Metz in France. Then came Red Bull Salzburg in Austria, where his talent began to shine on an international stage. After that, Southampton in England, and finally Liverpool, the grandest and most glorious stage of all. At Anfield, Sadio wasn't just another quick winger darting down the left flank. He became a living symbol of determination, hard work, and humility. A reminder that greatness can come from the humblest beginnings. Together with Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino, he formed a deadly attacking trio, a force that struck fear into defenders across all of Europe. In 2019, they conquered Europe by winning the UEFA Champions League. The following year, they achieved the dream Liverpool fans had waited for decades, lifting the Premier League trophy. And yet, amidst the parades, the flashing lights, and the celebrations, Sadio Mané stayed grounded. He rejected the glamour that came with fame. One day, a fan spotted him carrying an old iPhone with a cracked screen. When asked why he hadn't replaced it, Mané smiled and said, "Why should I buy a new one? This phone still works perfectly fine." While other players spent fortunes on designer clothes and luxury sports cars, Mané's thoughts often wandered back to his home, to the barefoot children running through the dusty roads of Bambali. He returned to his village one summer, walking proudly through the same dirt roads he had once run as a boy, his head held high and his heart overflowing with plans for the future. The first thing he built was a school, so that no child in Bambali would ever have to abandon their education because of poverty or distance. He filled it with modern classrooms, laptops, and 4G internet access, a bridge connecting the children of Bambali to the rest of the world. Next, he fulfilled the sacred vow he made as a child. He built a fully equipped modern hospital, the very first in the region, serving not just Bambali but many nearby villages. The hospital stood proudly, painted white under the African sun, with a modest sign at the entrance. Donated by Sadio Mané. When the doors officially opened, many villagers couldn't hold back their tears. For them, this wasn't just a building, it was a miracle, a gift born from compassion and memory. After that, Mané built a mosque. He remembered his late father, the imam who had once taught him that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in goodness and faith. "This mosque," he said softly, "is for my father. Every prayer said here will be a blessing for him." He didn't stop there. He also financed the construction of a gas station and a post office. Simple projects to outsiders, but transformative for the village's economy. The gas station provided jobs for young men, while the post office made it easier for families to send and receive money. A small revolution for daily life in Bambali. But among all of Mané's incredible acts, one gesture stood out the most, the one that amazed the world. Sadio Mané decided to pay a monthly salary to every family in his village. He gave €70 each month to every household in Bambali, enough to cover food, fuel, clothing, and school expenses for their children. When reporters asked him why he did such a thing, Mané smiled and said, "I know what hunger feels like. I know what it's like to have nothing. If I can help, why wouldn't I?" To many outsiders, €70 might seem like a small amount, but in Bambali, that money meant hope, dignity, and survival. It meant kitchens stayed warm, lamps stayed lit at night, and children could walk proudly to school every morning. That money wasn't just charity. It was a quiet act of justice, a symbol of gratitude, a reminder that true success means never forgetting where you came from. Every month, the villagers would gather in the small community hall. Their names would be called one by one, and they would receive envelopes containing the stipend, money taken directly from Mané's own income. There were no television crews, no flashing cameras, no publicity stunts. Only smiles, tears, and heartfelt gratitude. One mother said softly, "My child can now eat 3 times a day. Thank you, Sadio, for remembering us." A father added, "He gave us work, a hospital, and hope. We pray for him and his family every single day. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, Sadio Mané continued to play with the same fire and passion. Not for fame, not for wealth, but for the pride of his people. He once said in an interview, "I don't need 10 Ferraris, diamond watches, or private jets. What I want is to help my people. That's what truly makes me happy." Those words revealed who he really was, a global superstar who remained deeply rooted in humility and compassion. Today, Bambali is no longer a forgotten dot on the map. Its roads are paved, its schools are full, and its hospital serves hundreds of patients each month. All of it began with one poor boy who once kicked a ball made of rags and grew up to kick poverty itself out of his village. This is the story of Sadio Mané, the footballer who not only scored goals on the pitch, but also scored something far greater in the hearts of millions around the world. For Sadio Mané, true victory has never been about trophies or titles. It's when his entire village, the place where it all began, rises and thrives along with him.